know that every year when I go to my doctor's office, they ask me the same exact thing. They ask me, do you do your monthly breast exams? And I'm quiet for a moment because I know I'm supposed to do the monthly breast exams. Okay, I get it. I understand it, but I always think to myself, life gets in the way. Listen, I am Anne Marie, host of About This Life. And About This Life celebrates the journey of renewal and transformation. Transformation to what? To our best selves. And our mission is to help break free from limiting beliefs, from mindsets, to heal our bodies, heal our mind, and dare I say, yes, heal our souls, heal our spirit, because the mind, body, and soul is very much connected. So, on About This Life, we feature stories about people who reveal some simple shifts in their thoughts, in their belief system, and maybe in their actions in something that they do to change their lives for the better. I am overjoyed to have you, Tiffany Jones, join us today. So, hi, Tiffany.
Hi, Emery. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it is my pleasure. Thank you for being my guest. And Tiffany, I want to first talk about the things that you do, and then I want to talk about the person you are. Because, we've come to realize, been there, done that, got the t-shirt, that who we are can be different than what we do. So some of the things I know is that you started an organization called Patchwork, and we are going to hear about Patchwork and how that came into being. And another thing that we know about who you are, you're a wife, you're a mom to two humans and a dog. Okay, what breed of dog?
She is actually a little mutt. She's a Shih Tzu, Maltese, and Yorkie. So she's just a little combination.
Of all of the things, of all of the
Oh,
things.
yes.
Okay. And you are an adventurer as well. And I want to hear all about your adventures. But before we start out, I want to go back to the doctor's office because my goodness, sometimes I'm embarrassed to answer the question. And I realize, Anne-Marie, you've got to do better. Tiffany, tell me why I've got to be better. What's been your experience?
I yeah, I relate to that feeling though, Anne-Marie, right? Because I had that same reaction every month and I would say, yeah, I do, but it was early detection. It was early detection for me that made all the difference because and actually before early detection, my mom had had cancer. She had gotten genetic testing.
Mm,
And so I knew, and then she was positive for the BRCA2 gene. And so I then got genetic testing, which is also even before that early detection is like this opportunity to see whether you are susceptible to this
accessible.
gene.
Hmm.
Yeah, did I say that right?
Yes, you did. Yes, you
Yeah,
did.
good. And so I was being monitored. Uh, and I'm grateful. I'm grateful. I'm grateful that I would go in. No, mammograms are not fun. They're
No, they're
not.
not.
They're not. I actually, yeah. So, but that's how they found it. I was 52 and actually I was 51, sorry, and they found breast cancer in my right breast, and you know because of that early detection, because of the genetic testing, my treatment was able to be really targeted into what, the area, and get everything kind of going, really.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, I want to come back to genetic testing in a moment,
Okay.
but first, you have this discovery,
Mm.
must have taken your breath away.
It was
And
April Fool's Day.
April Fool's Day, yes, and we know the irony of that,
Yeah.
okay, of that
Yep.
particular day. And what was treatment like? What 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 was going
Wow.
through your mind as you're going through treatment?
So it was a very big journey, Amory. It was a very big journey, mental, but also physical. And I think I was more prepared for the mental journey than I was the physical journey, to be completely honest. I think it was, because that's what I focus on, right? We focus on the mind, and things. But the physical journey was really, well, and like you said at the beginning of your intro, it's all connected, right? That our mind, body, spirit is all connected. And so I thought originally I was going to have a double mastectomy.
Hmm.
So I was prepared, right? I
Mm.
was preparing for that journey. I went into the doctors that morning and got all the kind of logistics of what that was going to be. I had to have, tubes when you have a double mastectomy, and then you can't move. It's a big surgery. But that afternoon, and so I was kind of wrapping my head around this, and we were like, my husband and I were like preparing the room, and like what logistics we're going to have to do for me to be healed and be kind of out of commission, right, for a while.
Right, right.
But it was that afternoon I had an appointment with my oncologist, and he said to me, Tiffany, we actually are going to do chemotherapy first.
Mm. Change
And
of plans.
change of plans, just like
Okay.
this. And that kind of, that was kind of my journey has been with cancer. Change of plans.
Change of
turns out
plans.
turns out, yeah, change of plans. And the chemotherapy was really, it was hard. It's hard. But the hardest part really was losing my hair.
Yeah.
I was You just don't, I mean, we just don't
Yes.
even know, how much I had no idea how much importance I put on, because so many had bad hair days, and I'd be,
Yes.
you
Yes. Yeah.
complaining,
And I
right?
can relate because people have been asking me. I used to have locks.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I had locks for 10 years. And you know, when I cut my locks when my mom passed a couple of years ago. And
yeah.
for the last 2 years, when I say literally that I have changed my hair every month, I'm thinking to myself, what is this about? Why? Because I've had extensions, I've had my hair straightened. Right now, I have them in coils. I have literally changed my hair and I'm trying to get to the bottom of it underneath. But you have an interesting point because it speaks to your identity, who you are, and how you think your beauty is.
Oh, exactly. I mean, it is deep. I, it is deep. And that's exactly, I mean, and you just don't really understand until, for me, I didn't understand it really until I was bald. And I tried a wig. I tried, and I didn't like, I don't love the hats. I was like,
Yeah,
we see the scarves. I found, for me, I just had to embrace my baldness,
yeah,
and it kind of became what I like, a strength in me, you know, this strength in me. I had to wake up every morning, look in the mirror and be bald and be like, my eyes look good today.
Yes, yes,
Right?
and
What
embrace it.
right? My, I'm standing today and I'm not sick today. And you just have to find like other things. And it was really big. And then the hair regrowth was also a whole process, right? Because
Hmm.
it doesn't just come like this. I mean, now I have like long hair. I've got.
Yes, yes. But
And that was a whole process too. The hair regrowth and the short hair, like the hair coming in. And I was sensitive about it. I was really sensitive about it. And people would, be nice and stuff, but really it wasn't my choice. So even when people would be like, "Oh, your hair looks cute today," I'm like, "Thank you." But like inside, I didn't, I just wanted to stretch it out. I wanted it to grow quicker, I wanted it to be different than it was. And and that was just a whole process too, right? Of accepting what we are, where we are, our bodies and that they're changing, and yeah,
and
I'm 53 now,
accepting,
my body all is all changing all over.
it sounds to me, it's like accepting what you define as beautiful.
Yeah.
Because growing up, we were bombarded with images and people telling you in a certain perspective of what is beautiful. And
Yeah.
suddenly, when that's taken away, you know, it becomes on the inside. Am I still beautiful even when I don't have my hair?
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And it was, and again, talk about that mind-body connection. It went to the mind and it went to that soul, and I had to look inside and know that yes, yes, it isn't defining me, my hair. I am beautiful. I am strong and I am amazing. And it really they all came together. The other piece of the journey that was hard like that too was also I did have a double mastectomy after chemo.
After chemo?
Yep.
Okay.
So yeah, I actually, Anne-Marie, I was a really I I don't know why or how, but I'm still on my cancer journey. I have infusions every couple months that I have, and I'm on a daily chemo pill. But I had to have a double mastectomy, and then I had to have radiation. So
Mm.
I have gone through every stage of this cancer journey. I got to experience, but losing my breath. And that also, yes, I'm 53. It's like, there's all these rational reasons. And of course, why would you want to keep this? But I was connected. How connected I was to my breasts. I mean, fed my children, you
Mm-hmm.
know, I felt I was surprised kind of
Mm-hmm.
actually about how strongly I felt about that. And I ended up writing an obituary
Oh,
to
oh.
to my breast before I could really let them go. Really,
Mm-hmm.
it was a very powerful experience that, again, all the things with your hair, you think, am I beautiful? Am I still a woman? Am I attractive? Am I all these feelings come up, and it's
Yes.
really powerful. Yeah, as
It
a woman.
it really is, Tiffany, because of course you're married and it becomes, am I attractive to my husband?
Yeah.
And what am I going to look like? And it's almost you have to recalibrate. You have to pivot to this whole notion of, am I going to feel sorry for myself and sink into despair or rise up? I heard you say that you had the genetic testing. Most people don't do that. Your mom had cancer. I mean, walk us through that part of the journey in terms of what did you have cancer at the same time? Was her diagnosis before? Walk
Yeah.
us through that journey.
So my dad had cancer for like over 20 years, and he passed away in 2016.
Mm,
And 4 months after he passed away, my mom got diagnosed with ovarian cancer.
wow.
And it, I'm the oldest of two brothers. I am the only daughter. I am the caretaker of the family. It is my role and who I am in my soul. And so I was with them, on
Mhm.
all their cancer journeys, on my dad's cancer journey, and then my mom getting diagnosed. My mom and were very close, and she lived near me, and we were all very close.
Mm,
So I was with her, and her cancer journey lasted until 2022. And that's
mm,
when she passed away, January 2022. She'd gone into remission, and then it had recurred, and then the recurrence um, was just was just too much. But being there with and we're all affected by cancer. I feel
yeah,
like at
yeah,
this point in the
yeah.
world, right? Unfortunately, this is a very common story, and it's but being a caretaker is almost it's just so hard, right? Because you can't go through it, but you can't do anything for them. You try to do, you feeling as uncontrollable as they are anyway. And so I lost my mom in January, and it was 4 months later after losing my mom that I then got diagnosed.
And you talk about a roller coaster.
Yeah,
You talk about that's a lot of emotions to equip you with because you're still dealing with the grief.
1000%.
You
Yeah.
are still dealing with the grief. I heard you say caretaker. What's your favorite meal at dinner time? What's your favorite meal to make? Are you the cook in the family too?
Oh no, I am not the cook in the family.
Yeah,
I'm
you're
yeah.
like me to tell me, okay, you can bring the soda, Anne Marie.
Yes.
You bring the paper products.
Yes.
Oh, but we got the mac
No,
and cheese covered.
I got crackers and cheese. Yeah, I got
Yeah,
that.
or the potato salad.
Yeah.
That's okay. You bring the soda.
I am like that, Amber. Yes.
And we're laughing about it, but I had can I share with you, Tiffany,
Please.
my epiphany around even the food? Because as a woman, we're expected to be the best in terms of the cooks, the best in the kitchen. And that gift then went to my older sister, Janet. And I'm thinking to myself, I was the baby. I didn't cook. They told me to stay out the kitchen, as a matter of fact. And one of the things that I had to come to terms with myself is I can look at all the recipes in the world and do all of that, but it's not my gift. And I just, despite other people wanting me to be a gift, and when I say other people, is like, the men that I try to date or the one that I was married to, I'm just like, I'm not that woman. Got other gifts, but not that.
No. Yes.
So, yes.
Exactly. That's
So it's
great.
about we're talking about being a woman here, but
Yeah, we
whole
are. This is all
conversation. But your dad, you know, in terms of your dad having a cancer, say it again in terms of what type of cancer, if you want to share.
My dad had non-Hodgkin's lymphoma.
Mm-hmm.
So that was so it's and he got diagnosed when I was in my 20s, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so I always had this kind of resentment towards breast cancer because they get a whole month.
Right. Right. Right.
And,
Right.
my experience with cancer had nothing to do with breast cancer, but it was still so powerful. It's still so painful. My dad had stem cell transplants and chemotherapy and all the things too. And I would be like, oh, it's October, it's breast cancer awareness. Oh, breast cancer. Well, big deal, blah, blah. Excuse. But
Right. Right.
it was just this piece of me that was like, why don't all the cancers get talked about?
Exactly,
Because
because we're all impacted. But what I love about your story, you did not stay with the disease. You made a decision
yeah,
after losing your dad, after losing your mom, yourself is diagnosed. You made a decision to live your life.
yeah,
How did you live your life? I mean, literally, you
yeah.
climbed a mountain. Literally. Go,
Lit
girl. Go, Tiffany. Which mountain again?
Oh, Mount Kilimanjaro.
Like just
Kilimanjaro.
the tallest one in the world, right?
Mhm. Yeah, 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 I know. Well, and I will share that I wasn't diagnosed with cancer when I made that decision.
Okay.
I had decided to climb Kilimanjaro when after losing both of my parents to cancer. And
Mm.
so I was climbing Kilimanjaro to kick cancer's butt. And that was my GoFundMe. That was my goal. And in March of 2022, my GoFundMe got funded
Mm.
by Grape Nuts, the
Mm.
cereal. And that was in March, right before, and then I got diagnosed in April.
Oh my goodness.
And I will say, so getting that diagnosis, part of already kind of being on this journey, and then Grape Nuts gave me $12,000. I mean,
Thank you, grape nuts.
thank you, Grape Nuts, and which had been my dad's favorite cereal. And anyway, very, very divine. I was on this mission, and so when I met with my doctors, I let them know I am climbing this mountain. So I know, and having been with my parents, I knew this physical journey was really hard. I knew what treatments look like, and I said, I understand that, but I have to go climb this mountain. And so my doctors agreed with me and worked with me. I have an amazing team, and
Mm-hmm.
they said, "Okay." So the first week of June, I had my lumpectomy, and the last week of June, I flew out to Africa.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And did you finish this journey on Mount Kilimanjaro? Did you come into any obstacles?
There were obstacles along the way. It's a 6-day climb. It's 19,341 feet. I'm not a typical mountain climber. It's
Mm-hmm.
not. But, again, I was driven. It was a bigger purpose than me. And so I was on day 4 of the mountain when I fell. I
Okay.
slipped. It's like Mars. It was like gravel and rocks, and I was above the clouds, and I didn't even know it had happened. And I started sliding, but a rock stopped my head. And I'm laying there with my head down the mountain and my feet are up the mountain. And I can see the summit, right? I'm 2 days away from the summit. And I just looked at that summit and thought, why? Why? Why do I need to do that? I don't want to die on this mountain. Like, what do I need to do? And I needed to go down. I made the decision on day 4. I was hypoxic, and so my brain wasn't getting oxygen, and hypothermic and dehydrated.
Because you're thousands miles up in the sky. How much mileage were you walking every day or climbing?
So it would depend on the day. We were 16,000 feet. You do start at a certain elevation. But we would climb, I mean, 8 hours a day. We were climbing. And, one of the first things of Swahili that I learned is pole pole, which means slowly, slowly. Because
Mm,
the key to climbing that high on the mountain is to take it slowly, slowly, so that you can acclimatize and you don't get rocked by the altitude, because that's really is the hardest part, is how the elevation of the mountain.
mhm.
Um,
So
so yeah.
you fall and you hit your head
Yeah,
and
a rock stopped my head. I didn't really hit,
right,
I was fine. Physically, I was okay.
right.
I was exhausted. My body was done. My body was done. It was not going to go any further. And I knew that, I knew that. And that was hard. It's hard when you're so close to your goal. And I think this is what you had, one of your great questions, Anne-Marie, was about mind shift.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And, I thought that I felt like a failure. I felt like I failed my task. I saw that mountain, the summit was so close. And that had been my goal. I mean, that had been what I visualized, watching videos, taking time to really see myself up there. I saw myself up there. That was so clear in my mind. I really did such work on that, but actually getting there, I knew that my body wasn't going to do it. So coming down, I was feeling defeated. I was feeling really sad and kind of
Mm.
hard on myself about having to make this choice. But that is when, for me, my mom came to me. And my mom and I were very different people. She was, "Oh, it's easy, does it? Go with the
Yeah,
flow." Right? And she's like, "La, la, la." But I am kind of like, "Let's do this, 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 this." I'm like a bull in a
get it
china
done.
shop, right? Like, get it done. We got things to do. Like, let's do, do, do. And my mom's like, "Ah." So sometimes she and I would, not see eye to eye all the time.
Buckheads. Call it what it is. You love her, yes, but
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I love her, but we would have some. But she came to me, Emery, as I was going down. I was crying on this mountain, and her voice was so clear. She said, "Tiffany, sometimes it's stronger to be gentle than to fight."
wow. Sometimes it's stronger. I have to say it again. Sometimes it's stronger to be gentle than to fight. And it's interesting in terms of the divine and our faith
Yeah.
that what might seem like failure to us is actually a different sort of opportunity. It's almost like by divine appointment because I was thinking about your organization, Patchworks Inc., and I'm thinking, how does a woman from Maine come to be someone who's doing all this work for Tanzania. Am I saying it right? Of
Yes.
of all the places in the
I
world.
I
And
know.
I'm just like, there's a story in between here from Maine to Tanzania. And I'm
Yeah.
just like, okay, I'm bad at geography, Tiffany. So is Mount Kilimanjaro in that country?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes,
So
yes.
okay.
Yep,
Thank you for connecting the dots for me.
yep,
Okay.
yes.
So you
Mount,
came down.
yep. So I came down and the rest of my hiking team had 2 more days on the mountain. So, and it's in the town called Moshi, Tanzania. And Tanzania is,
Okay.
it's all good. But I had these 2 days that I got to go to the village, and I'm a teacher. I have been a teacher for 25 years, and education is my passion. And I know that it is just foundational for all of us to learn. And I love learning, and I'm always curious. And I know that education, the more people know, the more they can change their lives. And I saw these schools. I went into these schools, Anne Marie, and I saw that they had nothing. There
Mm,
were no books, there were no pencils, there was no supplies.
mm,
And not just that there weren't there in the classroom because they couldn't afford them, but there isn't a place to get them. There isn't a Walmart, there isn't a Amazon, there isn't an opportunity for them to even, here in the US, most teachers use their own money and go get supplies, which is awful. And,
right.
right? Like that's a whole other can of worms.
Right.
But
Right.
but here they just they don't even have that opportunity to get them for themselves, even if they wanted to. So I just saw it really became clear to me that there's a huge opportunity here. I knew right there that this was going to be what I did. And I met with a woman who has a
Okay.
charity.
I need for
Yeah.
you to pause for a moment
Okay.
because you make a statement I knew right there.
Yeah.
And, this is what this podcast about this life is about.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's a knowing, and we can go through, all the logistics you encountered, the people, and you felt compelled to help. And I dare say many people have that pull in their lives. However, it's different when you know. It's different when you set it out as your purpose. So, what is that like in terms of you just knew you were connected now?
It was it was powerful. It was overwhelming. It was exhilarating. It was, you know, my whole
What happened
journey.
to you physically? What happened to you in your
Yeah.
mind?
I mean, I was like buzzing.
Mm,
That happened physically. My body was like, okay, do. I didn't even I there was no blinking, there was no pauses. I had 2 days that, my team was up there. And what I learned after losing my parents, Anne Marie, is that we can't say someday forever.
nope.
This is it. This is our moment. Here we go. Here we are. This is our day right now today. This is the only, 10-4. I love that number today.
Mhm.
This is the only day like this that we're ever going to have again. And I took that to Africa with me, thinking that
Yeah.
that was what was going to get me to the top. I thought the summit was my goal.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, again, clear. I did know that this was my goal. I now had a new mountain.
So it was by divine appointment that you encountered the teacher in Moshi.
Yeah.
Divine appointment. What kinds of things do you do at Patchwork? How does Patchwork support your efforts now?
So we have a nonprofit. We bring people and supplies over to support teachers in Tanzania. And what
Mm,
that looks like is that we have 10-day trips. They're called Service and Safari. And we do 5 days where we work in the schools. We have 2 schools in Moshi, and then we also do have schools now in the Serengeti. When we go on safari, we also bring supplies on safari with us. We plant trees, and we also are connected with a medical facility that helps women getting reusable pads and medical help.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And so that's kind of our 5 days that we're there and doing this service, and then we go on safari. And so that is how we bring over supplies. We bring the supplies. I found shipping them over there's not an option that has worked logistically, financially, that makes sense. So really the best option is to bring over as much as we can. At this point, we've brought over 1,000 pounds of supplies, and we have brought 10 people and 1,000 pounds of supplies and a few computers. We've brought cell phones. So throughout the year, what I do here in the US is I collect funds, I collect items and gather all those things. So we go right now, it's one trip a year in June, and bring all those things with us.
And that's almost like homage, paying honor to your parents. Because it was through that experience that you um had a dream of climbing a mountain. And by divine appointment, you met the people in Moshi. So that is
Yeah.
wonderful. So
Yeah.
it speaks to not being still, and something that stirred within me as well in terms of what you shared. Tomorrow is not promised. And so if you have a dream, guess what? You've got to make that dream happen, right?
Yeah.
You
And,
got to make it happen.
I like to say, Emery, when I decided to go climb this mountain, I'm not a typical mountain climber. I had no idea how I was going to do it, but I knew that I could go buy a pair of sneakers. So, all of us have goals, we have dreams, we have visions, we have ideas that we want to do, and we may not know how to do them, and they may seem really big, and so we don't try. I really hope that from hearing my story and by sharing my experience, that people at least go and buy a pair of sneakers. Like, just do that next little right thing that we can do. Sometimes my mountain is a mountain of laundry on my bed today,
Mm.
right? And I just need to go fold that first t-shirt. We have to just take that first step. And that is that, who knows where it will lead us, right? It's not
Mhm.
necessarily for us to know. I thought mine was supposed to lead me up to the top of a mountain, when it turns out I may never have even gone back to Africa if I hadn't fallen. It's like I now get to go. I've gone back to Africa 3 times now and bring people there, and I am building an amazing nonprofit that's going to help teachers around the world, you
Right,
know?
right. It sounds to me like what you're really saying is that we need to start. We need to start somewhere. And we might not know what the whole vision is meant to be, but we need to start and make a difference, be a light in somebody's life. And that's how we pay it back to the people we love and the people we lost, is to be a light for somebody else. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what
Yeah.
I'm getting from your talk,
Good.
from our conversation. How do people support Patchworks? Or are you do you have a website? Are you online? Where should people go to find out about you and what you're doing with Patchworks?
That, yes, I have a website and it's patchworksinc.com. I am on Instagram at Patchworks Inc. is on Instagram, and we're on LinkedIn. We're on Facebook. I, would I encourage everyone to reach out, reach out to me, or, Anne Marie, or any of
Yeah.
us, right? Like, get in touch. I would love to. I'm always open and looking for ways to collaborate with people, or if anyone ever wanted to come to Africa.
Mm-hmm. And
You know?
I think about teachers because I've been biting my tongue for a moment because I know that the conversation is about you, but I'm a teacher too.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I teach middle school, and I think what greater group of people to take this upon themselves in terms of your life is changed when you go overseas. And I have been personally impacted. I did a missions trip with my church to Senegal, and it
mm,
was one of the most momentous experiences of my own life.
yeah,
And so people talk about, what's the secret to happiness? The secret sauce is in to live,
yeah.
to just live and to help somebody else as you live. Yes.
Totally. I love
Yes.
that. That is, and I will
Mhm.
say that when I got home, and at the beginning we talked about my cancer journey, part of what got me through knowing that I was good and okay was that I had this business to build. And knowing that and building that through my sickness, through my journey of treatments, that was everything for me. It got me out, it got me beyond, I'm just a cancer patient, cancer
Mhm.
journey. It gave me another purpose. It gave me more than just what I was going through. It was what I was.
Right. And I wonder at some moments your husband must be looking at you like, okay.
Yes.
So he's a trooper. We have to shout him out.
Oh, we do. We do. Yeah, he's always like, "Okay, let's see how that works out for you." Like,
Let's see how that works for you. You all the way, but let's see where this goes.
yeah, let's see where this goes. Like, I don't know. He's he's a good anchor. He's a good anchor.
He's a good anchor.
Yeah.
So, just in closing, the question sometimes that I ask guests is, fill in the blank. I used to believe, but now I believe. So fill in the two blanks. I used to believe blank, but now I believe. Fill in those blanks for us.
I used to believe that when I set a goal that didn't come true, that I was a failure. And now I believe that that not coming true goal if a goal that I have set doesn't come true, it means that that wasn't ever meant to be and that there's more out there for me.
There's more. There's more.
There's
Perfectly said. So, Tiffany, I just want to thank you for being my guest. And, this podcast is all about the different ways that we change our lives. and how we can see a brand new perspective that we might not have thought of. And so, first of all, we need to check. We need to do our monthly checks.
Yes,
Let's start
yes,
there. We need to stop playing and
yeah,
do our monthly checks and to
yes,
understand that in every grief, in every challenge, in every obstacle, there is a divine purpose that can emerge from it. And so, if we can look at life that way, that's how we get a little piece of heaven coming
yeah.
down on earth, right? And so
And
thank you for being a light bearer. I am Anne Marie, and I'm host of About This Life, where we change our lives one day at a time. So, yes, ma'am, thank you so much. That's an
thank
incredible
you.
story. Climbing a
Thank you.
mountain, my gosh, golly gee.
I know. I know. I will, I'm, my goal is to climb it again, actually.
Hmm. Hmm.
My goal is to climb it again. That is, I go over and I have my guides. I still see my guides. They are amazing. And they're like, when are you coming up again? And
Yes,
so that's on my list too, is to kind of have that my reunion tour up the mountain. But
absolutely. And
yeah,
and thank you. Thank you. I mean, when you have a purpose, you can't not do it. So I know you're doing it for higher reasons that's bigger,
yeah,
but just thank you for honoring the call to that purpose and walking in your purpose. Because by walking in your purpose, not only are you helping people in the classroom, you're helping people uh, realistically halfway around the world. So
yeah.
thank
Yeah,
you.
I love that. Well, thank you. I mean, teacher to teacher. I mean,
Yes.
I just do think we all need more shout outs. Like
Mhm.
it's real. Our profession is it's a calling in and of itself, right?
Yes.
Being a teacher
I often liken it to
is,
it's a ministry. And just like
yeah,
ministers get burned out sometimes, and I like that's
yeah,
something I used to believe. You're a minister. How can you get burnt out? That does not supposed to happen. I would say
right.
teachers, we do a lot, so we need to love on our teachers.
Yeah, we do. We need to live on our teachers. That's right. I know. And so my dream is to have like teachers without borders, like doctors without borders. So we'll
Yes,
go to different schools around the world and bring supplies and all learn from each other. There's so much to learn from each other.
absolutely. Yeah. Well, thank you.
So
Thank
cool.
you
Thank you, Anne Marie.
for
Good luck.
sharing your
I'm excited
story.
for you.
Yes, I'm excited. So I probably have a few emails I need to look at. So I am going to go look at that
Yeah.
because the podcast is going on worldwide, I guess. And being on YouTube, that's
Yes.
exciting for me. I will reach out to you when your episode airs. I have a few of them that are stacked, quote unquote, which means that I have like 4 or 5 or 6, I forget how many that are lined up. So yeah, I will let you know when the episode airs so that we can tell the world.
Sounds awesome.
Okay, so take care.
Thanks, Anne Marie.
Bye bye,
Bye-bye.
and thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank
Bye
you.
bye.